My new book, Pillars for Life, A Guide to Spiritual Ethics and Practice, is now out and available for you to read and purchase. You can check out our website, willowhealing.org, to find a link, or you can find it on Amazon. We look forward to getting your feedback, and if you love it, please leave a review and share with your friends. Now it's time for the show. Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul. Hey everyone, it's Catherine from Willow Healing, and today I'm here with Jayne Reynolds. So she is a board certified holistic nutritionist, level 2 certified nutrition recovery coach, and Amen Clinic certified brain health professional. Her ultimate goal is to revolutionize how we think about and approach mental health while helping her clients restore their quality of life with simple diet and lifestyle changes. What sets her apart? Well, she's quintessentially British, addicted to chocolate, and an unapologetic harbinger of hope. For years, like many people, she struggled with debilitating depression, anxiety, and thoughts of suicide. She did all the right things, took the medications, saw numerous doctors, and went to counseling. Unfortunately, nothing seemed to work. That was until she discovered the therapeutic power of whole, unprocessed foods, amino acid therapy, and holistic lifestyle. She applied the same principles she now teaches in her 12-week program and watched as her anxiety dissipated and her energy soared. She found a sense of purpose and happiness that once seemed out of reach. And the best part, she worked with her physicians to wean herself off medication and maintain her newfound well-being. Well done. And now as a board certified holistic nutritionist and recovery coach, she helps her clients implement these life-changing tools. Her approach emphasizes natural, sustainable solutions to mental health that enable you to lead your best life possible with more joy, vitality, and fulfillment. So welcome to the show, Jayne.
Thank you so much for having me, Catherine. I'm really glad to be here today.
And what an amazing journey that you went through to get yourself off medication, because that can be such a hard thing, especially in itself when your mental health has been at such a point, like such a low point, and like you said, you were doing all those things. What inspired you to search outside of what was happening for you at that time?
Honestly, probably desperation. Like, I really was doing so many things that just didn't feel like they were working very well. And we were deep in prayer. I was working through so many faith-based journals, trying to figure out, what the root cause was and how to find healing and how to find help. And somebody came to me and said, listen, you've tried all these conventional ways of doing things. Have you ever considered going to see a naturopath? You should go and see mine. And I didn't even know what a naturopath was. I didn't even know they existed. I didn't know I had options. So she was really instrumental in that first step towards, finding wellness. But it came out of sheer desperation because I just didn't know what else to do.
Yeah, I find a lot of people, that's when they'll turn to alternative health approaches, because it's like we've tried everything that we've been told is the way to go, and all of a sudden it's not working, and there's this desire to keep wanting to find a resolution so you can restore your life back to a way that is not surviving, essentially.
Yeah, I hear too often in my office people in their late 30s, early 40s being told by physicians, this is it. This is your lot in life. This is how it's supposed to be. Don't you know you're aging? Don't you know? And I'm looking at him going, for heaven's sake, you're supposed to be in the prime of life at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to feel really good. I feel like, anyway, in your 30s and 40s, maybe in 50 and 60, things start to ache a little bit, maybe. But I'm rapidly approaching 50 and I feel great. I feel better than I did when I was in my 20s. So I don't think that we're supposed to settle. I don't think we were designed to settle. And I think there's a lot of options out there that we don't always consider, just because it's not what's presented to us as the first option. I just listened to your last post that was up about the way our medical system has been set up over time, and it's been set up to sort of funnel us through these things And we've tried this and we've tried this and we've tried this, and if that's not working for you, it's too bad, because we're doing the best we can. That's our standard of care. But if it isn't working for you, then what are you left with? And I think that really sends a lot of us searching.
Yeah, definitely. And, it's when it makes you go, there must be another way. And I think the biggest thing is that we're all unique human beings. We all have our unique genetic makeup. We all have our own unique gut health and bacteria. And, then our blood type kicks in. And there's so many facets of us, not just DNA and genetics. There's actually other things as well, and you can't do a one-stop shop model for everybody.
No, because you're not just a product of your DNA and your genetics, you're also a product of your environment. So the things that I had been exposed to were the things that led me down a path of getting very ill in the first place. I had an E. coli infection after the birth of my first daughter. Did it set up shop because I didn't really know how to take care of myself well, or how to keep my immune system strong through that whole birth and delivery process? Maybe. We certainly have influence over those things. But then I ended up down the regular allopathic, in hospital, 7 bags of antibiotics over 3 days. And that decimated my gut bacteria. And that's what started the anxiety attacks. I did not know at the time that they were correlated. I knew nothing about reseeding my gut or, getting good probiotics back in there after my baby was born. And I'd had that infection. And so it makes me feel old now. When I say that. She's 27 years old, so it's going back a little ways. But we didn't know those things. Now, at least if you leave the hospital after you've had rounds of antibiotics here, they have a tendency to write you a prescription for a few days of a strong, probiotic, because they understand the need for that. We're getting more functional crossover, and I see that happening. It's been like turning the Queen Mary, but it's getting there. And so those to me are like the bright sparks on the horizon, where we see some shifts and changes coming and some recognition. But yeah, it's we're a product of our environment as much as our genetics and our DNA.
Yeah, and I love that you brought up too how the antibiotics actually destroy the good bacteria as well as the other bacteria in our systems, because a lot of people don't realize that. And, there's this tendency for, there's the talk of the antibiotic resistance and that sort of thing, because you've got no good bacteria left to fight anything. So, it is really important to build it back. And I love that you've linked that to how, it was through the imbalanced gut health that then led to the anxiety, and then I'm guessing the start of the mental health journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I probably, I maybe wobbled on the side of being a slightly anxious individual anyway, but that just pushed me over the edge.
Yeah.
And the whole piece of that gut microbiome and how healthy and how important that is for us. As I went through my education and learning, and I'm figuring out that maybe as much as 90% of our serotonin, which is responsible for keeping us calm and happy, is made inside of our gut microbiome by our healthy gut bacteria. So it makes sense then that I'm starting to deal with all of these anxiety issues when the good bacteria are no longer there, creating all of those good neurotransmitters that I need. We know that at least 50% of our dopamine, if not more, is also made there. So when it's off, it's really off. And I've had, I'll just call them wobbles back into those issues with mental health stuff by having had to go through like more conventional medical treatments, even as much as like I had an ulcerative colitis diagnosis way back when. And so I have to get colonoscopies done fairly consistently. And they give you a whole bunch of soupy, nasty stuff to drink when they do that. And one of the medications has polyethylene glycol in it. And when I took that medication, within about a day, I was bawling my eyes out, could not pull myself back together, was convinced that, I'm not worth anything. I don't have anything going for me. I'm, useless. I'm whatever. All those depressive thoughts, they just came flying right back in. I knew exactly what it was because it was the only thing I'd done different. So gave myself a couple of days to get out of that funk, but I did not take that medication in my colonoscopy prep. In fact, I went a little rogue and I did it all by myself. I did some other things instead. So I just,
Understandable.
It's been important for me over the years to figure out how the things that we put in our bodies really do have an impact. And then just watching and helping my clients to see as they go through this journey, what is it that you did that has triggered this thing that you are now dealing with? Where did this begin? I frequently begin with the question, finish this sentence for me. I haven't felt the same since. And then I let them fill in the blank. I haven't felt the same since I had my kid. I haven't felt the same since I had that infection. I haven't felt the same since I took that fall. Whatever it is, then we can start piecing together what happened then and where they've gone from that point on.
Yeah, and I love that question because it's so open-ended, but also it's like you subconsciously know that there is a better way of being and that you have been there, because if you haven't experienced it, then you wouldn't be able to answer that question.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And I deal with a lot of people too that struggle with once they start feeling better, if they have a little wobble, worrying to death that they're going to go right back over the cliff edge and it's all going to be over again because they don't feel very stable or secure yet in feeling well. And we just remind them of that moment. Remember that time when you did feel well before this all went sideways. We're working towards feeling well. We're getting further and further away from the cliff edge every single day that we work together, and you are on a path and a journey and on a way to healing. And yeah, you might have wobbles, but it's okay. We're not going back over the edge again. So I think it's very important that medical trauma and having been through things that are really frightening and feeling very out of control of yourself and what you're going through, that's all very real. And we don't want those things to come back after we've been through them once or twice.
100%. It's like, I've lived through it. I don't want to do it again and again and again.
Yeah.
I don't think,
I always used to,
yeah.
I always used to joke with my girls, just ask God, what are you trying to teach me? Because I want to learn the lesson fast. I don't want to stay here and I don't want to repeat it.
100%. I always say I'm going to do all the healing and do all the work because I don't want to have to do it all again in another life or another time, because, it's just, you come into this world and you're like, okay, I'm having these experiences, and it's coming back to your power too, right? It's your power. You can stay in that state, or you can be curious and start to look for ways to return to how you felt before.
Yes. And isn't curiosity what a wonderful gift curiosity is? I mean, you just get to start asking, well, what if I didn't do it that way? What if I tried this? What if I did feel better? What would that mean for me in the future? How do I feel when I think about feeling that way in the future, right? We start to be able to imagine all of the possibilities when we get curious, instead of being stuck in this mindset of I'm stuck like this, I don't have any choices, nothing's going to change. We've seen people go on miraculous healing journeys because they've been willing to get curious about what their possibilities are.
Yeah. And it is, I agree, 100%. Curiosity is something that we need to re-foster in ourselves, because we naturally have it as children, and then we kind of, society and culture and expectations and things dims down our curiosity, but it's actually our curiosity that helps us find where we're meant to be in life as well. Like, if you hadn't gone through that journey that you went through and been curious that there must be something else, then you wouldn't be having this conversation with me right now.
Right. Yeah, and that's it. We it's a trite cliche, I get it, but there's a message in all of our mess, right? There is, and I don't believe for one second that we go through the things that we've been through just to become comfortable. I think we go through the things we've been through in order to become a comfort for others. And so the journeys that we've been through, the difficult things that we've experienced, those things become the way that we are able to show up to minister and serve and take care of our community around us, especially if we've found answers. That's really hard to keep to yourself. If you figured it out, then it's really hard to just kind of sit on that and not share it with someone else if they're willing to listen. That I'm willing to let them know that, there's a lot of options out there for them and they don't have to stay the way they are.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful reminder too. Like my coach often talks about it. Our reasons for doing things start as selfish, right? Or self-full. He likes to say self-full, right? Because if it's not something that you're passionate about and driven about, then you're not going to go want to get up and go learn about it and, consume all the information you can. But when you have that information, like you said, then you want to go into a place of service and serve your community and serve those around you, because you don't want them to go through what you went through, or you can see a way to, support them and help create a different life for them if they choose to do that.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So how did you then stumble into, I'm just curious, my brain's like in the middle of this your narrative, your story. And so how did you end up finding your way into holistic nutrition and all the certifications that you then pursued, apart from curiosity, but yeah.
Well, one of the biggest keys for me in getting well, there were a couple of different factors. One was amino acid therapy, which I'm now trained and know how to use. But the second, which was really probably at the time felt like the most significant thing, I had gone to a chiropractor and I told him I was struggling with pain on my side, and he was like, well, I don't know, but maybe it's gut issues and maybe you should try going gluten-free. It was kind of like the panacea for everything, right? Is everybody should try going gluten-free. And I went away. It took me about 2 weeks to decide to do it, because if you start looking at gluten, it is in just about everything that you have been making and eating for forever. And so I took it on board. I cleared it out. I made a menu plan and I started eating gluten-free for a week. And when I got to the end of that week, I thought, oh my gosh, I have not had an anxiety attack for a whole week. And the only thing that I had changed was taking gluten out of my diet. And I had like debilitating anxiety. The attacks had been, I might have had 3 or 4 anxiety attacks a day. They may have lasted an hour, hour and a half at a time. And so to go from that to nothing in 1 week was nothing short of miraculous. And I started asking questions like, if that's how and what impact gluten has on me. My friend who recommended the ND said, well, dairy protein's pretty similar to gluten, so people who can't tolerate gluten often can't tolerate dairy either. And I was like, oh shoot, okay, let's go find out how we find out about all of this stuff. So I did delayed food sensitivity testing at the time. And I do that with my clients now because it is so personalized. And for me, it was gluten and dairy and eggs. For somebody else, it could be celery, blueberries, and, bromelain. We just don't know until we have a look and see what's going on inside the body. So I took the things out that were bothering me. Inflammation starts going down. I generally start getting better. I lose weight. I mean, like all of these things start coming together. And I thought I'm sure that although I want to say gluten is the answer for everything, I'm sure it's not. So I want to go and learn how to do this well so that I've always come from a background where more knowledge is better. Like if I understand how my body works, if I understand how the mechanism of action of a food inside my body and why it's driving me to feel the way that I do, then I can help somebody else from an educated standpoint. So I started looking, and I just had this conversation with a client this morning. She's like, why didn't you become a registered dietitian? And I said, because I did not want, and I don't, for those who have, like, kudos to you. It's a really hard track to go down. It takes a lot of study, a lot of education. I get it. But I did not want somebody telling me that the base of my food pyramid had to be 6 to 11 servings of grains every single day, because that wasn't working for me personally. So I was pretty sure it wasn't working personally for some other people. And I didn't want a governing board over me who would also hold me to that standard and make me teach that even though it didn't feel right. So I went and looking for somebody who was going to teach more holistic education, found the Energetic Health Institute, Dr. Hanalei Alei. He is a naturopathic doctor, and he's put together this entire course. All those, I know this won't come up on a bit. It's on audio, right? But I've got an entire set of binders behind me. It's all full of the material from his classes.
There's a lot of binders, everybody. There's a lot of
really,
binders.
what's that?
There's a lot of binders.
There is a lot of binders. But he taught us. I did more biochemistry than I thought I would ever be able to handle in my adult life, right? We learned so much about how the body worked, and from there, took my board certification in holistic nutrition, went on to study through the Academy for Addiction and Mental Health Nutrition, and then just last year went through Amen Clinic's Brain Health Certification Program. So just continually learning about how things are impacted, and recognizing through that process that, you know, they always tell you niche out, figure out where you belong in this world, because you could help so many people with so many different things. And so I do broad spectrum wellness stuff, but I love helping people to get their brains back online. Like, our brains run our body, they're the command center for our body. So let's get them functioning properly so that you can live a long time with a brain that actually works. And so you're not anxious or not depressed. Like, this life is so rich and so beautiful. Let's not run around just lost in this muck and mire of missing out on all of these beautiful things because we're so sad. Like, there's no need for that. We should be able to help.
Yeah, and I love that that comparison too, because, you know, and I'm so glad I asked that question, because it is such an interesting journey that you went on, and you know, just started exploring for yourself the different reactions to food. And my background as a speech language pathologist, I worked with a lot of children with autism, and the fad was take everyone off gluten. Now, I would explain to parents that it might work, it might not work, because everybody's gut's unique, because I already had that understanding at that point. But for one of my clients, he would constantly have issues with having accidents and wetting the bed, and they actually did take him off gluten. His behavior changed immensely, and the accident stopped straight away. So they ended up telling everyone that he had an allergy rather than intolerance, because a lot of people don't understand the difference, and they will just kind of sweep it under the rug if you say it's an intolerance. So they just told everyone he was celiac, even though he wasn't, you know, just to hone the message in, because people would still go, oh, well, he can have a little bit. And they're like, no, he really can't. And then for me personally, as a mum, my son can't metabolize sugar. So we didn't realize it was such a big issue. And he was like a very violent toddler. Like, when he would just have these spats and, you know, get really angry and throw everything and hit you. And we're like, what is this? This isn't our child. And it was only because we very much limited like what we were giving him. We tried to give him like whole foods anyway. And it was only it was Easter time, and so Easter, you know, you get lots of eggs. And then he had some, and he had the worst meltdown at everything. And I was talking to my naturopath, and I said, this is what happened. He goes, oh my God, it's the sugar. And I was like, oh. And we just, as soon as we knew that, we swapped everything out, you know, like, he doesn't miss out on anything. But we also taught him, so this is a 3-year-old, we were able to teach him, hey, when you have sugar, this is what happens to your body. Did you notice that? And he could, like, he actually fully, and to this day, he still will limit how much sugar he has, and he knows he can't tolerate it and metabolize it. So it's not putting sugar in a bad box, but it's actually just his body can't cope with that. Yeah. And it's interesting. It's those extreme examples that when you figure out that piece of food or that sensitivity or that imbalance that's happening, it completely changes your well-being and your behavior.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And the number of times that even at this point, we will sit down and say, oh, you know, it's tiring. We don't think we want a food prep. Are we going to go out to dinner tonight? And you start looking at the options and you just go, nope, we will find something here. We will make something from scratch, because I know, and it sounds, you know, I don't want to come across as us being like hyper controlling over everything that we're doing. We're not. I just feel better if I eat at home. I feel better if I eat whole foods. I feel better if I know, you know, there's no telling when you've gone to a restaurant how often they're using seed oils, excess amounts of salt. There are sneak ingredients that make it in there. There's tons of chemicals. You know, you think you're going to the restaurant just to get scrambled eggs, and they're coming out of a box, and they've usually got milk in them when they're coming out of a box. And so you have to ask for cracked eggs instead of liquid eggs when you have scrambled eggs at a restaurant. Otherwise, you've got dairy without, even knowing that it's gone in there. So it becomes kind of a pain in the butt to navigate all of that. And you just go, what, we'll just eat here and we're better off.
Yeah. And then occasionally you'll find this like amazing whole food place that, really honors. And then, and you get really excited. And then something will change, like the owner might change or the menu might change slightly, or you just notice that you don't feel good eating. This happened to us the other week. And you just notice you don't feel good eating that food anymore. And you're like, what happened? And it's so disappointing because sometimes it is really nice to just allow someone else to cook for you. But when your body reacts so badly to it, it's not worth it. It's just, you rather put the effort in to nourish yourself in a way that is not going to leave you feeling in a state of depression or anxiety, or, leave you feeling bloated and not wanting to go on with life and live your life in a happy state rather than the sad, depressed state.
Yeah, I've definitely got to the point where I've said to myself more than once, I don't have a week to lose not feeling well, right? If I eat that, I'm going to feel well. I've got appointments all week. I've got clients depending on me. I've got podcasts to be on. I've got classes to teach. Like, I don't need to be feeling awful. I need to be feeling at my best in order to make those things happen. So, it's just not worth messing that up.
I fully understand. And for, especially, if you're a parent as well, like coming from a parent perspective, when you're not okay, like when you go into those anxiety states and the low moods and everything, you can't function as a parent very well either. And then, it's almost like your family unit starts to fall apart. So there's that to weigh up too, right? Because often, especially... you think there's often goes through, is there something wrong with me? That will often pop into your head. And it's like, well, kind of is, but it's got to do with your gut and it's got to do with what's happening in your body.
Yeah, 100%. And I will tell you that was one of the biggest fear factors for me in getting help originally, because when I had my nervous breakdown in 2004, my girls were like, I have at the time, a 7-year-old, I have twins. So the twins were about 6 years old. And I really was not able to show up as a mom. I don't know how many times I called my husband home to come and help us. And he was getting to the point of exasperation. Like, I can't keep popping home. This is not, I can't keep leaving work. I don't know what to do with you. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with me either. Like, I don't have the answers. The kids are trying to figure out what's going on. I had one night where the teacher actually ended up taking them home from school because I got taken to the hospital having a panic attack that I thought was a heart attack. So, it is very hard to parent in a healthy way from that place. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm not saying that, kudos to all those parents who are trying to work through those things and still manage being, showing up and being parents in those spaces. But it's very, very difficult. And kids are demanding. My husband always says they will beat the selfish right out of you.
I love that.
So many needs. And they don't have a filter on asking for whatever it is they need at that moment, right? You just got to give and give and give. So that's hard to do when you don't feel well.
Yeah, and they'll also find every single button to push as well. So any trigger, your children know which your triggers are because they are mini versions of you. They'll find a way to push them.
Yes, this is 100% accurate.
And as we finish our time together, Jayne, I ask the guests that come on the show if they could heal or change something in the world, what would it be?
I have just our heart to lift the spirit of depression and anxiety from our community. I know a lot about helping people with addiction recovery and just all those other pieces, but the piece that gets me is those that are just struggling with depression and anxiety. We have, we mentioned this a few minutes ago, but we really do have so much potential for so much good and to experience and enjoy life, to be set free from the shackles of depression and anxiety and from how that holds us back from just showing up fully for our families and enjoying all those wonderful moments, enjoying life, appreciating, like when I was in those spaces, I didn't appreciate being at the park, I didn't appreciate the birds singing, I didn't appreciate the sunshine, like I was just trying to survive. And I just don't believe we were created for that. I believe we were created for abundance. And so, yeah, I think that's where if I could change the world, that's the one thing I would change in the world.
Yeah, and such a beautiful vision, because I have been the depressed person and I have suffered from anxiety and panic attacks. And so I fully resonate with what you're saying. And you stop seeing all the good in the world, you stop seeing all the beauty. And, even now, when if I feel myself starting to dip, it's the gratitude and just finding things to focus on, to be grateful for, that can help pull you out of that really quickly. But if you're in the extreme mindset, that's not going to happen. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And that gratitude piece is it's unbelievable how much difference it can make when you just start writing down 3 or 4 things that you're grateful for every single day. And it could be like in the beginning, it starts out with these really like, I am grateful I'm still alive today. I am grateful the sun came up today. I am grateful that, I can make my bed today. Like, it's the most basic things when you're getting well. But then it starts out, just the gratitude gets to the place where they're just pouring out, and they are random things that you're like, yeah, I really am. I'm really grateful that, this person's seeing healing. I'm grateful that right now, I don't know when you're airing this, but we just found out that we're going to be grandparents. Like, I am so grateful that we are going to be grandparents. What an exciting part of our journey that we get to do next. All this stuff is just pouring out of me now, and it's easy to help other people find the joy when you can see the things to be grateful for.
Yeah, and I love that you brought up too, sometimes you just be grateful that you're alive, or I'm grateful that I'm breathing, or I'm grateful, and I do it a lot with food, before I eat it, and put like gratitude intention over the food, because, I'm grateful that I'm going to eat this food and it's going to nourish my body and going to make me feel good, like just having that mindset.
100%. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, because otherwise, a lot of people don't realize that everything carries energy, and there's so much, like there's the amino experiments and everything showing how water holds energy, and food's the same. Food has water in it, and by speaking that gratitude in your water or over your food or just over life in general, you're changing the energy that's going into your body and around you.
Yeah, I believe those experiments were fascinating. I love looking at the vials of water. I love looking at the words, cool. Peace and all of that. It's amazing. The crystals that came and formed in that ice is just, it's just beautiful. It really is. So yeah, I used to at work, I used to talk nicely to the photocopier. After I took that class, I was like, I'm forever talking nicely to the photocopier, because I believe that it needs to be held, it needs to be touched, it needs to be loved on. Otherwise, it's not going to spit the copies out like it's supposed to,
I have over
the things we're putting in.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with my photocopier, I have to say.
Well, I've just decided that its love language is physical touch, because you have to get your hands on every single part of it.
I love it. Okay, everybody listening, if there's one key takeaway, apart from, see what's going on with your gut health, you need to be kind and love your photocopier.
Take care of your tech.
That's it. Oh dear. And Jayne, how can people find you if they want to work with you or connect with you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so I have a website. It is Sycamore and Sage Nutrition, like the tree and the plant, sycamoreandsagenutrition.com. And then I do have a bit.ly link. It is capital C, H-A-T, and then capital W-I-T-H, and then capital J-A-Y-N-E, Chat with Jayne. So you can get hold of me that way and have a free 30-minute chat. I'd love to connect with you and see how we can work together.
Beautiful. And I'll make sure to put that all in the show notes so people can just click and get to you super easy. So thank you so much.
That would be great.
Thank you so much for this conversation, Jayne. It has been fun and definitely really good reminder that, you don't have to stay in that mental health state. There are other things that you can do and alternate paths you can look for.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute delight. Like a coffee and a chat. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.